Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Geraldine. I go by X Stitches on Instagram and here on YouTube. And welcome to my anniversary episode. It's my first year anniversary on Flosstube. And you've landed on my channel where I talk about crafty things, mostly cross stitch. So if that's something that you're interested in, stay for a while and check things out. For those of you who know me, hi, my name's Geraldine. I've been MIA since July. That would be August, September, October. So I have to count on my fingers for at least 3 months. My last video was a mid-year whip parade that then I promptly followed up 3 months later with a Flosstube episode. So hello again. It's nice to see you and meet you. I'm sorry that I've been so MIA. Life has been crazy. I've been doing lots of life things and also lots of stitchy things, and the time that I've had to do other things, I've spent stitching, to be honest. So here I am, and I'm excited to be back, and hopefully I can keep this going. I'm going to try to film all the way through and not do any editing, so this is going to be just what I can do here with my phone and upload. Otherwise, who knows when I'll get this up. Yeah, life has been crazy. Work's been super busy. Like I said, I've been stitching and knitting and all the things when I've had free time. And I've also, since we've last chatted, I have participated in the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit put on by Acorns and Threads. I was able to do that virtually, which was a blessing to be able to participate and not, I mean, I think it would be wonderful to be there in person, but it's just so much more affordable when all I have to worry about is my ticket to the event and not actually paying for my travel and my airfare. And then Friend Stitch happened. I participated in that one. Not the Halloween Friend Stitch, but just I don't know what it was called. Just the normal Friend Stitch. That happened a few weeks ago. And then, of course, Jacob Palooza. I went to London, Ontario. Evertote put on Jacob Palooza, where Jacob DeGraff of Modern Folk Embroidery blessed us with his presence for 2 lovely weekends. I participated in weekend 1 during Canadian Thanksgiving, and it was amazing. I met some really great new stitchy friends that adopted me. We kicked it off immediately, and we chat almost every day, if not every day now. So that was really wonderful. Jacob is amazing. He's everything he is on Flosstube, but like so much more, because he's funny and quirky and a little bit snarky if you get to know him a little bit better. So the snark is something that I very much enjoy. Yeah, so Jacob Palooza was amazing. Caroline and Hannah and the entire Evertote team did an amazing job putting that event together. The stitching time was very chill. The frenzy and excitement wasn't quite as amped up as Stitch North, and which was, I don't know, I don't want to be judgmental about it, good or bad. I enjoyed it not being quite so amped up. I was able to kind of settle in and start to stitching a little bit sooner than I was at Stitch North, and it was just chill. Lots of visiting with different people, walking around and checking things out, and multiple conversations with people even from like different tables throughout the weekend, looking at all of Jacob's gorgeous samplers. It was just, there aren't words. It was amazing. I have a lot of catching up to do. There is part of the reason why it's taken me so long to come back is because it just felt really difficult, or I've worked all day. I'm sorry, my words, I'm going to struggle a little bit. Just if I was going to show you everything I've touched and stitched on in the last 3.5 months, it just felt like it would be impossible to film something. So I've picked out the highlights and what I've been stitching on most recently, and we'll just kind of go from there. At some point I'll do another whip parade and we'll catch up on everything. So like, you're not going to see every single new start that I had in the last 3 months. You're not going to see every single whip I've touched. You probably, hopefully, will see most of my finishes and fully finished objects. I have lots of those to share because, again, it's been a while. So yeah, let's buckle in and get started. I have a pile of framed objects in front of me, and a few of them are ready to go to work with me. I have not a brand new office, but they kicked me out for about 4 weeks and took everything down, painted, filled in the holes in the walls and scuff marks and all of that stuff, painted. I got some new furniture in there. I hung some fairy lights and got a like floor light, and just, it's very like, it's just cozy now. It's very hygge, and I've been waiting to take my cross stitch so I could show you first, because I have a few pieces and then more that I want to take with me. So without further ado, let's show you some fully finished objects, or FFOs as we call them in the cross stitch community. This first one I love so much. You've seen before. This is my Prairie Schooler Christmas Eve, and I used the DMC floss that was called for, and Billie Jean 40 count is the linen from Roxy Floss Co. linen. There's a few modifications that I did make. I wanted it to feel a little bit more Christmassy, so I did red and green for the words in the snow. I think the pattern calls for like some pastel colors that I left out. And then there was like a little elf like kind of standing off of this corner of the tracks of the sled. And I left him out too because I thought he was a little odd, and just added a few snowflakes there in that corner instead. And here we are. I love it. This will hang so we have a coat hook in the entrance area where we hang our stockings during the Christmas season. And so this will go on so it's like a coat hook with a shelf, little baby shelf, and like a mirror above it. So this will go on the shelf above the stockings that I decorate. So I'm really excited to see this like in its home in a few weeks. All right. Next is Toonies. I had this finished before as well, I believe. This is a pattern by Dee's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari. This is on, I believe, 36 count Cedar River linen, called Red Cedar. And this is sort of the called for floss. I believe the white and this variegated like purpley black floss wasn't exactly called for, but it was a really close substitution for what they had at Stitch North from Brennan Needle. And I absolutely love this floss, and I love this piece, and this is one of the ones that will hang in my office. Part of my hesitation I'm going to take them, but part of my hesitation also for taking them is I just have this piece and the next piece that I would show you, and so until I have more, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do on the wall, because it's going to be a little bit funny. You know what I mean? Like just having a fairly large area with two pieces might look a little silly until I have more. So we'll see what I do with that. And then my next piece, I don't think I've shown finished. Maybe I had all of my pieces finished. This is a Force Sampler by Liz Matthews, and she did like a stitch along collage type thing this early summer. So these are all different pieces of colored and counts of linen that and I did a Roxy Floss Co conversion from the chart when I picked out my flosses, and it really only took a few strands of each to do these. So this was a fun little stitch. It was easy to travel with for these pieces. I did a lot of these pieces while I was traveling for work for a conference, so it was really easy to stitch in hand and work on these. So that is my Forest Sampler. And a fun way, oh, I had a string on it. A fun way to do a sampler without doing the whole giant thing. So that was a great idea. All right, and then this one you haven't even seen. So this is a start, a finish, and an FFO, and I just finished it this weekend. I still have to put the paper back on the back of it, but I'm going to count it as a fully finished, and that is September's Revenge by Maximum Cross Stitch, and it's so good. 40 count Snickerdoodle by Roxy Floss Co. with the called for Roxy Floss. And of course, designed by the master Ellen of Maximum Cross Stitch. So I have a dream. I ordered this frame from pictureframes.com. I think it turned out great. I have like I'm going to show you my lacing because I have like the tiniest of margins in the back because I cut this a little close. I put a whole other piece on this, and I on this quarter yard, fat quarter, I did a whole other piece, and I thought I did leave plenty of room. I didn't account for the width that I would need to account for the mat. So it worked out. I would have sewn fabric if I had to, but I had just enough, and it just required a little bit more time and thread to lace it because I had to go further along the back to connect the ends together. But I love it. And then this is UV protected. It's not glass, it's PVC that pictureframes.com offers. And I don't know if I will have consensus within my home about where I want to put this, but I would like to put this in our sunroom. And this is literally what our garden looks like right now. It's completely overtaken everything, and it's a mess. It's all brown and dead now because we've had snow in Michigan, but yeah, it's great, and I want to put it down there. So I went ahead and purchased the UV protection just in case, because that room does get a lot of light. Our couch, the back of our couch, sits against the big picture window, and it's supposed to be chocolate brown, and it's almost tan. So I just thought protecting it would make a lot of sense. I think those are all my fully finished objects, other than I did a Stitch Nor Small. I stitched Darling Starling in September along with September's Revenge, and that was a oh my gosh, that was my smalls exchange for Jacobpalooza. If you're interested in seeing that, it's on my Instagram. It's worth checking out. Like, to toot my own horn, I struggled a lot with what I was going to do for my small, both which pattern I wanted to pick, and then once I picked it, how was I going to finish it in a unique way. And one day it dawned on me, a mug rug. And so I made a mug rug with a little coffee. It's a coffee cup that is pieced, pieced like quilting, with the stitch beside it. So check out my Instagram. I have a picture up there of it. I was pretty proud of that finish. All right, and then I have my friend stitch tin full of finishes that need to be fully finished. So I'm gonna pop this baby open and see what treasures we find inside. Some of these are kind of, I don't know if they're cheater finishes, but I don't know what you call them. But let's see. Oh, there's not as much in here as I remembered. Okay. So when I did my whip parade in July, I decided to abandon or to call this a finish. So this is my advent calendar by Little Dove Cross Stitch. It's on, I think it's an 18 or a 16 count Aida, and it's just like a plain Zweigart. I don't even know the color because I don't think when I started this piece, I knew that I would care later. So this is the bottom of it, and then it's got like the calendar all built, and then a few of these guys up here. So I'm going to finish this somehow. I don't quite know how yet, but I'm going to take the pieces that are stitched already and salvage them to make them into something like this one. I'm thinking some kind of pillow finish, and have that for Christmas. So that's sort of on my list. We'll see if I get to it this year. I don't remember if I've showed this or not, but it's in my finished pile, so we'll talk about it. This is Sarah Rinder. I knew it would come to me. So instead of stitching all of Sarah Rinder, I chose to just stitch this bouquet, and then I think I'm going to make it into a pin cushion or a needle book or a drum or something like that. So it's just that first corner bouquet in Sarah Rinder with the called for 103s. And then I called Sarah Rinder done. I don't think that I will probably stitch her in her entirety. And then I have another small to show you. This is the Friends Stitch cartouche that came with the rest of the patterns and kits. It matches. And this is I think it's a 32 count. It was a special R&R linen that they dyed for Friend Stitch, and now I don't remember what the name of the linen, what they called it, but it's a a decently sized piece. I think I could fit another smaller two on there. All right, and then my big finishes. I was saving the big finishes for last. Put this down. I don't know how you're gonna see this because it's big and I didn't grab my board, but I have been working on, this is one of my goals for a finish for 2023. Actually have the picture frame box sitting on my front porch because I came home from work, finished up some meetings at home, and then immediately turned on my camera. And now I'm gonna have a tickle in my throat. So I'm excited to see the frame that I picked and make sure it fits and all those things. But it is Hibernation Day by Heartstrings Samplery, and it's been folded up in my tin, so it was ironed at one point. And this is with the Roxy Floss Co conversion that Caroline from Evertote did. I chose, instead of initials, just to put 2007. This piece is 40 count Panettone. It was a special cut that came from Evertote to fit this piece. I love these little remnant pieces that I'll save once I know where to trim it for the frame. This was a really fun stitch. It was also wrought with trouble. If you look really close, I missed some threads and they're not, it's perfect. Why am I telling you all my mistakes? You would never know. It's perfect. I'm so happy with it. I can't wait to get up on my wall. This one will be probably a year-round thing. I'm thinking I'm going to hang it in the master bedroom because that's where we are cozy. I have my last big finish is one that you probably haven't seen for a while, except for maybe during my whip parade. I can't remember if this was officially a finish for, back up. Hibernation Day. I started boxing. Nope. Was it right before Christmas? I started it right around Christmas last year. So it took me less than a year to finish that one, but that was like my 24th and 25th of the month stitch, and even a little bit more throughout the year. This piece I started in July of 2022. This is also an Evertote Roxy Floss Co inspired conversion, and it is Leela's Studio Nevermore. So this is what that piece looks like, if I can get it all in there. So I used, test my memory now. So Vixen is the red, Vampish is this like dark purpley brown, black. This is Cousin It, along with the bird, and I tried to stitch him so his wings went diagonal with the shape of his wing, and then his body went side to side to kind of give him that little bit of texture. I think that's Anne or Annie in this like medium rusty brown. Haystack. This is Morticia. And then there's some other I think the bronzier one, I don't remember now. But Vixen, Vampish, and Morticia really kind of played. I love this is my favorite band down here, these ones together. They really played the primary role in this piece. So I was really not sure how I'd feel about this graveyard, and the wrought iron gate. I actually had a lot of fun stitching it. It was a fun stitch. And this is on Picture This plus French Vanilla, 40 count. I bought this at my local LNS. I had no idea when I bought it how desired Picture This plus linen actually is. I had no idea how lucky I was to get my hands on a piece of it. Now I know. But that's all I have of it. So my LNS doesn't sell yardage, like cuts. They have yardage, and they cut the size that you need. And again, I bought this back when, you did your math and you went to the store, and that was the only way that I knew how to do things before I had like a really good linen stash. I think those are all my finishes. I mean, for 3.5 months, I think I did pretty good. So I don't have a plan for Nevermore to frame it yet, just because I just bought the frame for September's Revenge and then Hibernation Day, so I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break. I don't quite know how I want to finish it. I'm thinking a frame, but I might want to do like a wall hanging instead. It could go on my, so this wall here where you can, whoop, this way, you can barely see Ellen's here. So there's a few of my Roxy pieces. It could go there because it qualifies as a Roxy Evertote piece, even though it's Leela's Studio. It's got Roxy floss, and it's Evertote inspired. But we're gonna have a library someday in like our bonus room on the main floor, and so if there's space there, I'll likely want to put it down there. So I don't quite know what that's gonna look like yet, so it might take a little while for me to finish it. Nonetheless, all right, should we look at some more stitching? Oh, finish, the other finish that I forgot to bring in here. So I made, like, during a little bit of downtime at work today, I quick jotted down like the things that I wanted to highlight, and my sampler September timber yarn socks, striped timber socks, self-stripe. There was a self-striping set that matched the floss from September's Revenge. I finished those socks in September. I knit those by hand, and I forgot to grab them. I wrote down that I needed to, and then of course I didn't. I have a second set from that set. I was able to get 2 pairs of socks on my needles now that I made a sock tube with. So part of the reason why I've been MIA is because I received my circular sock machine that was 3D printed by a friend, and I've been playing. It took me probably about a month to 5 weeks to get comfortable with using it consistently and getting the gauge that I wanted. And now I have a bag of sock tubes that I haven't had a chance to put toes and cuffs and heels on because I've been busy stitching. So anyways, the second set, I knit the tube on my circular sock machine. I've got a heel and a cuff in. Almost the cuff I'm like sewing. I'm binding off the cuff right now. And then I'll have a toe, and I'll have one of the 2 pairs done. So those are slated as a gift, hopefully this fall still. So, well, I mean, it's winter fall here now, but yeah. So those actually live in my purse. So I carry those around, and I try to do a little bit of knitting when I have some downtime when I'm out and about. All right. So I've got, like, in no particular order, piles of whips to show you. So I'm just gonna maybe start at the top of the pile and go from there. What is this one? Okay, so this is the top of the pile, but also there's stuff underneath. It's okay, let's not do that one first, or my pile will fall down. Let's do what's on the scroll rods first. Okay, so it's November now. It's November 2, I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning. And I took a Jacob piece, Modern Folk Embroidery piece with me to Jacobpalooza. I wanted to have a piece that had lots of fill-in, which it did. I didn't do much fill-in because I had like a finish and a bunch of new starts and craziness that ensued at Jacobpalooza. I started 3 or 4 things at Jacobpalooza. So anyways, I did stitch on this the night before Jacobpalooza, and I want to get this back out for, oh, I'm sorry, I hit the tripod, for sampler September, or, oh, no, black sampler November. I'm getting all mixed up here. The linen is Eureka by Fox and Rabbit. It's a 40 count. It's washing out a little bit. It's a little bit of a like warmer tone than what you're getting excuse me, on the camera. And I am stitching it with chalkboard from Roxy Floss Co. And I really love this piece. I have the chart somewhere here in this pile. I don't know if I can easily, oh, I can, it's right here. Boop. This is what the chart looks like. So I've got a decent start. I mean, I've got most of the house outlined to do fill in. I think the words will go pretty fast. This border is super fun, but it's pretty intense. Just not in that it has a lot of stitching. The people will be fun to do, Jane and Mr. Rochester. So I've loved this piece for a long time. I don't remember when I started it. I have it written somewhere. But I don't know that I'll finish it this month, but I want to put some decent dents into it. The problem is it's now Halloween is over. I'm really getting the itch to do excuse me, more seasonal, which is why I don't love that Black Sampler November is in November. Can like Black Sampler November be like in July or I don't know. I mean, it's not moody to do Black Samplers in July or August in the summer, but like, what about my holiday stitching? So, okay. My other thing that I have on scroll rods, oh, I did a thing. Speaking of scroll rods, I finally, after months of thinking, years probably of thinking about it, I bit the bullet and I got myself a Hearthside Craftsworks lap stand, and it shipped today. So like within a week, it'll be here in my hot little hands, and I'm so excited. I got the normal frame, comes with a 20-inch scroll rod. I tested these when I was at Jacobpalooza, and my scroll frames that I prefer will fit. And I got the adapter because I've been stitching more with Q-snaps, so I have the Q-snap adapter as well. Okay, anyways, I digress. Let's talk about the next. I told you this would be all over the place. You've been warned. Just roll with me. Come along for the ride. Limit your expectations and just come with me. This next piece is Summer Quaker by Leela Studio. I'm the silly person who got super excited to purchase this pattern, I believe, at Dying to Stitch in Virginia Beach is where I bought it. And then I was like, oh wait, I forgot I was gonna buy this as a PDF so I can use it on Pattern Keeper. So I did both because it really is worth it. I mean, it's not necessarily worth it to me to have the paper chart. It's nice to have the paper chart. But if I already have the paper chart and it's a big piece like this one is, it's 267 by 216. The amount of frustration it will save me in time having Pattern Keeper, it was worthwhile of me to purchase the pattern twice. So I stitched on this piece. I started it the end of July. The plan was I was gonna, like, a bunch of people were starting it in August. Well, I couldn't wait, so I started it like the 27th or the 26th or something like that, and I stitched on it almost exclusively until close to the end of August. I just really, really enjoyed this piece and the colors that I chose because I'm sure it will surprise you, those of you who have been around for a while. I wouldn't have done a conversion. I would definitely stitch this in the called for colors, right? Yeah, no, you know me. You know I'm lying. I 100% did a Roxy Floss Co. conversion. I've got like the, okay, no colors are ugly, but like the not fun colors are in the back. So let me like move my floss ring around just a little bit so you can see the gorgeousness. And you'll see from the piece too, but look at these, like all of these blues and teals, and then with these pinks and oranges, like the dark greens. Where's my, oh yeah, here, my friend is hiding there. Jungle Nights needs to have a prominent place in the Beautiful Floss collection. So this calls for lots of colors. I don't think I did like, if I did, it was only one or two colors that are like, I picked one color for like two different colors. I think I tried to be pretty true to what I could interpret the DMC conversion is for this piece. I don't even think that there is another, it's just DMC that it's stitched for. There's no overdyed floss conversion that Leela did. So I tried to be fairly true to the DMC, but just knowing that I love those like aquas and the blues. This color, Unicorn, it's really beautifully variegated. So there were some that I knew like this is going to be this thing. And I was pretty, I think I did talk about this conversion maybe on my last Flosstube, but I don't believe I had this. I don't believe I showed the start. So here is my start. Isn't it good? So I am fill out all the details so that I can easy stitch, mindlessly stitch by filling in. So sometimes I'm just in the mood for a good fill in and I don't want to have to look at the pattern other than to give myself credit for all of the many stitches that I put in. So I have the words up here left to do a few clouds and stuff up top. But down here, it's really just the fill in of the water, and you can see all that beautiful variegation with those tealy blue colors. And then these Quakers have been really fun as well. This is, I can't see my end to tell me, my salvage to tell me. I can't remember if it's 40 or 46, but it's definitely a higher count. I have to wear my, I have an astigmatism, so just taking my normal glasses off and just putting readers on does not fix that part of it. And so I have a prescription set of readers essentially that I use for stitching. And so that's how I know that it's a higher count, because I have to use my readers for this. But it's Porcelain by Roxy Floss Co. If you're interested in the conversion for this, on my Instagram, I have it written. I have a picture of my conversion written out, so you can check that out there, or message me and we can figure out how to get it to you. So this piece I love. I want to get back to. I think it's on my. I've started kind of really loosely thinking about 2024 goals, while also telling myself I just want to stitch what I want to stitch. That should be a goal. But I really want to finish this piece. I love it so much, and I really enjoy stitching on it, and so I want to try to finish it in 2024. So I think I will be coming back out at some point. But I mean, you can stitch summer whenever you want to stitch summer. I stitch Christmas all the time too, so there are no rules. But I want to stitch Christmas stuff right now, so it's going to be a little while before it comes back out. But I'm really excited about it, and I'm really proud of that conversion because it's turning out really great. Okay, I keep saying I'm just going to like pull from like no particular order, so in that spirit, we're going to go from summer to Darktober stitching. So the next piece is Got the Morbs by Modern Folk Embroidery. You're going to see a lot of Modern Folk Embroidery, and not all of the Modern Folk. I could probably do a whole whip parade just on Modern Folk Embroidery. But this has Got the Morbs by Jacob. This the Morbs is a Victorian saying. I'm trying to remember who posted about it on Instagram that Jacob saw, and he like immediately he tells the story. Like immediately it was like, I need to make a cross stitch with this on it. So having the Morbs is like melancholia, and kind of used as an excuse to like not be social in the Victorian era. So I can relate to that sometimes, especially when I have the Morbs, because I really want to stitch, or maybe the stitching fixes the Morbs, the melancholia. I don't know. It doesn't matter. This piece is so in progress. There's threads coming off of it, which is not a typical Geraldine thing to do. I don't typically like to leave threads hanging. I will keep stitching unless I like something is happening and I like have to put my needle down and go address it. I don't stop stitching until my thread is gone, or I like need to be done with that color. Anyways, so it's weird for me to have threads hanging because I haven't touched this piece in like a week at least, but there's 2 different threads hanging. So I just have this like bottom band to do. I am stitching this on 46 count. It's a one of a kind Roxy Floss linen. 46 count. I think I said that already. It's gorgeous. It's a little bit, again, getting washed out. So it's a little bit darker, like just slightly more saturated of a green than what you're seeing. And I am using Green and Barrett. I mean, you can see from the stitching, but so Green and Barrett is like a very subtly green black. And I think that plays really well with the green of the linen, and it's a chef's kiss kind of situation. So I love that it's just this little tiny piece, and it's one color, and it's one strand of floss, or one skein of floss, and it's great. And I really need to get back to this and do that bottom band. So again, this could be a candidate for some Black Sampler November, as long as I can hold off the Christmas spirit. I started this is, again, sorry, sidebar. I have been waiting for weeks for SiriusXM, which I have a online subscription for. I don't pay for it in my car because I can stream it with my phone, and I typically use my Bluetooth, and it's a whole thing. But I like to listen to a very specific channel at work because it's my jam, and I was born in the wrong decade. I listen to 80s alternative. So First Wave to me is worth an online membership monthly because I haven't been able to find a similar channel that has that specific mix of 80s music. And if you know, you know. But anyways, the other bonus of having SiriusXM is that they have Holly, which is like the right Christmas music for me. And I have been waiting for Holly to come on online. There's 2 Christmas channels year round. One is a French channel, and one I haven't listened to. I could. And one is like a more like Bing Crosby, like 50s and 60s Christmas channel, like very traditional, that era music. And so I've listened to it a little bit even before Halloween. But so I started an audiobook that I've gotten into. That was a recommendation from one of my new stitchy friends. And I haven't checked to see if now that it's November 2nd, it's not Halloween anymore, Holly should be on. I don't know. I'll have to check. So sidebar, I don't even know why you needed to know that, but I need to check and see if I can listen to Christmas music. But also I'm enjoying the book that I'm listening to. So, okay, my next one is the one that I got out first here, but I wasn't quite ready. So, 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers is working with Evertote. I mean, those of you, you know me, like those of you who've been around here for a while. If you're new, I love Evertote. It's my local L&S, though it's not local to me. I would have to drive 3.5 hours. I've done that once to go to their very first open house, which is amazing and totally worth the drive. Once all that construction is done in London, Caroline, you're going to see me more than just for retreats. But, and then I've been there for retreats and things. So anyways, they're my other local L&S. My local L&S is a knitting store that has a little tiny baby cross stitch section, which I'm happy about having, but like, it's not a keepsakes, I guess, or the attic kind of situation. I digress. Anyways, back to 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. They're working with Caroline on like is it a 5-part series, Caroline? Yes, because it's a 9-patch. They're working on a 5-part series based on an antique sampler that Leanne has in her possession that she is reproducing. You can see it like on the background of her picture. She uses the sampler. And I'm actually making it a 6-part series because About to Take Wing was the Stitch North Weekend 1 freebie from 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. And so the original design of the idea of the set is to do a 9-patch. So for those of you who aren't quilters, a 9-patch is a block of 9 squares that are set up in a 3x3 pattern. So 3 rows across, 3 rows down gives you 9 blocks total. They're usually in a checkerboard pattern. So your middle squares on the top and bottom and both sides are one color, and then the corner squares in the middle are like usually another color in like the traditional typical 9-patch pattern. I don't know what I'm exactly going to do, but I know that I want to do something a little bit different. It's probably still going to be a quilt. It's likely going to be hand-pieced because that's a whole thing that I've been doing. I should probably show you that. Remind me to show you that. So I decided to take About to Take Wing, and I'm separate because I don't know how like a long piece like this would fit into that style. So I'm going to separate these out. Or I have separated these out, and so they're sort of like mini finishes, but I'm counting it, but I'm not done or finished with the pattern. I'm not counting it as a finish until I have all 3 motifs done. So I have the first 2 done, and I put this one in Pattern Keeper to get started on. So I just did like the PDF scan. It's not perfect, but these charts are pretty. I can show you just a small section, but I love that they save paper, but they're pretty tiny. So you can sew. Pattern Keeper helps a lot with both keeping track of the stitches because they're a little bit confetti-y, if that's a word. And they also just are a little bit tiny, so it helps to kind of blow them up and get them bigger. Anyways, so I separated them out in little pieces because I'm weird and I want to know like how many stitches it is and like how close I am to finishing, because I enjoy the process of stitching, but I am a finish-based. I'm a what is that other one? It's not finish-based stitcher, but you know what I mean. So I'm stitching on the called for catnap with the called for floss. So it's Roxy Flossco catnap. This is, I think, a 36, or let me look because I have the whole piece here. It's really hard to tell on the catnap if there's like, so if it's a 40 count, it's got like the gray line on it, and if it's a 36, it doesn't. I think that is a gray line there. It's just really hard. I think that's that extra stitching there. I have the paper somewhere. Oh my gosh. I thought I had stitched in the extra fabric, but it's just my needle is caught on it. No, I didn't do that, did I? Okay. All right, let me show you instead of being weird. And so I have the first two pieces done. I started with this one first, and I just finished the bird last night. I had most of the stitches in one day. And then I did about 500, a little over 500 stitches last night to get those leaves finished. So that's my funky little bird. I was worried that like my Pattern Keeper copy like loaded in weird and I missed some stitches because he's funny looking. Look at what this little girl did. His body is like straight across. And I'm sure it's probably just like the angle that he was at, or I don't know, but I'm not sure why his body is so flat. But there he or she is. So the other flower that I need to start next will just be a mirror image of that one, and I think it'll be right around 900 stitches. So not a bad, like solid 2 days on the weekday or a weekend stitch to get that one done. I've just been really enjoying my stitching on this. For some reason, this floss, one strand on the 40 count, it's just been really neat. Like my exes, I don't know why, they just seem neater than normal. I mean, it's just fun to look at your stitching and like look back at the beginning and just see the progress that you've made. And I struggle, but like I don't struggle with messing up like I used to. I still make dumb mistakes, don't get me wrong, but like it's just really interesting as you progress. So I also have Sing After the Storm, so that's this one that I'll do after that. It's a bigger piece. And then Bloom Wildly. And then the next piece I think it's another floral motif, and it will be coming out, I think either this week or next week is the word on the street. And so I will be doing those. So technically that will be officially number 4 of the 5. And then I believe 5 is coming out with like borders and extra stuff to add to your pieces. So you're supposed to leave, like stitch in the middle of the linen, leave lots of room. I don't know when that comes out. I think that's going to give me a better idea of like the whole plan, and like, will those things go on these pieces of linen also, or will they be they're little pieces that somehow get put into the whole picture kind of thing. We'll just have to see how that works. It's meant to be stitched all on Panettone with like different cuts of the Panettone or different dye lots, giving you that like difference in the fabric. I have some other fabric picked out so that I can play with that a little bit. So that's why the catnap stayed on catnap, because it'll get incorporated into the piece. But like, so I'm not married to all of my linen being the same color, essentially. We'll see how that all works out. It'll be fun to just roll with it. All right, I have this all stored in a little like thread book that I made for myself. So it's also been fun to play with that. Okay, that's Bloom. Not Bloom, Bloom Wildly is the last one. That's About to Take Wing and the ones that go with it. Okay, let's fast forward in time a little bit. Okay, I was like, I took this out. Where is it? Whoopsie. Sorry. I've been at work I already said this. I've been at work all day. So my phone is plugged in to my chair, and then it's on the tripod because my recliner is electric, and so it's got like those fancy little USB ports on the side, which are super great for stitching. But if I rock too much or I wobble the camera because the cord pulls or hitting, so I'm sorry, it's a little wobbly. That's all I mean. Okay. In Friendship, this was the piece that went along with Jacobpalooza. There were two options. This was the piece I did not pick, but knew I was probably going to stitch or get and stitch, whatever. By Modern Folk Embroidery. It's a Quaker style sampler that Jacob designed, and it's gorgeous. My table mates that I met were all wonderful people, two of them. Oh my gosh, this is bonkers. Okay, I'm looking at this and I'm like, there's no way this is going to fit on this linen. And it will totally fit because I measured it. But like, why did I start so far over? And then I think it's because it's over 1 and it really is that tiny. So 32 count Speculous is the linen, which was the called for linen by Roxy Floss Co. I thought I grabbed the skein out and now I don't see it anywhere. So maybe I didn't grab it. Anyways, you'll be able to see the color from the piece. It's over 1 on 32 count because Nettie and Kaylee are the tiny stitchers, and they convinced me, oh look, it matches my nails. I love dark purple. They're the tiny stitchers, and they convinced me that I could do this on 32 count. I could have gone smaller. I could have, but for it being like a whole piece and not just like a tiny small stitch, I didn't want to commit to something super tiny. So unlike me, I did baby steps. So this is my baby steps towards a higher count. And so I just have this first motif done here, and I'm loving it. I haven't stitched on it since the first day of Jacobpalooza. I put my goal was to finish this that night. I stayed until we literally got kicked out after our friends, the hockey players, came to visit and eat all of our cookies. Caroline and my table mates cheered me on as I put my last few stitches in, and like, it was literally like, I just have 15 more, and I had like, it was like, okay, you have 5 minutes left, you have 4 minutes left. I actually went a little bit over. I think it was 9 o'clock, the room closed. I hope there wasn't a needle in there because it's not in there anymore. But I did finish it before I went back to my room that night. So thank you to those of you who gave me, Caroline, for giving me that little bit of, that few extra minutes. And it's so good. Like, it just, I think more than over 2, the way that these, like, the borders play, because there's just that one linen thread between each one, is just so great. So, and I will always have a memory associated with Stitch Norse than my new friends with this piece, which is super fun. So I definitely want to get back to that, but I haven't stitched on it since. I'm going to say that all the time. That's just what I say. So I'll get back to it at some point, hopefully in 2024 for sure. I don't have a, oh yeah, I do. Okay. The next one is like the tiniest bit. So my goal, I had a list of things I wanted to start at Jacobpalooza. I wanted to start the sampler. I don't have it here, but the sampler that I did purchase with my retreat registration, which is the Jerchy and Gerchy, like big, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Frisian sampler. I got like 3 or, okay, I lied. I got like 6 letters in on it. So I'm not going to show it to you, but I will show it to you the next time I stitch on it. It's gorgeous. It's so good. The colors, I just love them. So I knew I wanted to start that. I wanted to start AKGIT, which I'll show you next. I wanted to start Here Be Dragons. I wanted to start Got the Morbs, which I believe was my like night before start. So I started Got the Morbs the night before the retreat. Then I started In Friendship on Friday. Saturday, I spent all day working on, and I don't have it with me, but it is on my Instagram, So Jacob did the Frisian letter tutorial, which was not what I expected, but so much more than what I expected. So it was really awesome. I just thought he was going to teach us the stitch. I didn't realize that it wasn't the stitch that we needed to learn, but the concept of how to build a Frisian letter and then make it your own. So that was so cool. We got the booklets with our retreat kit. So Friday night I went back to my room and I studied, and I knew that like he was going to teach the hem stitch first and then the Frisian letters. And so I wanted to like get going on the Frisian letters as much as I thought I could, so that then I could hem stitch it and make it my retreat badge. I have a stitching mat for retreats or like taking it to stitchy days and stuff. And so it's been my goal since I made my stitching mat before my first retreat to have a badge or like a little memento that I can put on there from every retreat that I go to in person. So I did a little MFE in Frisian letters, and then I lied. I did the Frisian letter crown that Jacob had charted for us, and then I put MFE at the bottom. And then I hem stitched it all on Saturday. So it took me all of Saturday really to get that piece done, which it was pretty small, but it's pretty awesome. So I love it a lot. I used the colors from the Churchy Gurchy sampler, a red, a blue, and a green, and it just turned out so good on a little piece of speculous, which is the linen that's for both of those pieces. Both in Friendship and the bigger Frisian sampler had speculous, which is this beautiful like biscuity tan color. Anyways, so then Sunday morning I had 3 new starts because I had a goal to start these other pieces. So I started Churchy and Gurchy, and I stitched for an hour, and then I put it down. Actually, I think I lied. I think I started Here Be Dragons first. It's a super pitiful start. I don't have it out to show you. And then I started AKGIT, and then Churchy and Gurchy. So here's AKGIT. All that to say is I started this big boy, AKGIT. It's gorgeous. I chose, this is Just the Ticket by Tabby Cat, ? I'm pretty sure it's Just the Ticket by Tabby Cat. I did not have a Roxy Floss Co. cut of linen that was big enough to fit it. Even for 46 count, I needed a half yard, not a quarter, a fat half, not a fat quarter, by just the skin of my teeth. I wasn't comfortable with the margins that I would have had for this size of a sampler with the fat quarter. And I was, even though, so basically they didn't have I was too impatient to wait for Carrie to dye more of the color that I would have wanted, and so I ordered from somewhere else, which is totally fine because this linen is beautiful. So anyways, this is my most pitiful start of AKGIT. Again, I haven't touched it since I got home because I've been doing other things. I love it. It's super fun. This took me I set an alarm for an hour, but I had to start and then get going and then do the stitching and then do the next thing. And of course you get busy looking at other pieces. We took pictures with our Reaching Skyward pieces, which I brought up here, and then I'm going to have to pause and go get, because I do have to show you that for sure tonight. So anyways, that's AKGIT. I will get back to it. Jacob's almost 50% when I was there with him is gorgeous. And I am stitching it over one strand over 2 with, and it's hard to see in my thread paper, but with the Virlander floss that I bought a whole hank for, wound on my yarn winder. And then, so I have a ball of it, but then I, strung a fair amount of it to have ready at hand for stitching. All right, my last one that I have sitting here before I pause very quickly with you is a peacock, a unicorn, and a badger. I believe I had started this and probably have shown this on a previous Flosstube. I'm sorry, I didn't look back or anything. This is by the Scarlet Letter. I've been wanting to stitch this for a really long time, and I did have the Addict kitted up for me. I am stitching it on 40 count dark cobblestone. It's just a plain Zweigart. This is a full coverage piece. And so I don't really need to have like a fancy hand-dyed linen for it. These are the beautiful Auversois silks that I am stitching it with. They're lovely. I really love this piece. I'm nervous that if I take it out, I'm going to want to stitch it. But here I am. I think the last time I worked on it, I did quite a bit. I got the rest. I had a little bit on the bird left, but then that whole flower and the leaf. I think I actually had most of the fill-in for the bird that I did. All those flowers and the leaf, and I think I might have even went over and did a few more peacock stitches and some of the green fill-in. So I'm trying to like do some motifs, which is like the fun stitching, and then do some green fill-in each time I sit down with it too, so that I don't get so far behind on all that fill-in. I'm really looking forward to the satin stitches in the water. They're gonna be awesome. I ordered extra Auversois just in case I needed more for that, because I really want it to be nice and puffy and padded and gorgeous down there at the bottom. All this blue is satin stitched. So that is going to be a long-term project that has no, I want to touch it a lot, but it has no goal to be finished by any particular time frame. It's a big one. For reference, it is 320 by 340. So I think that's, is it a BAP if it's over 300, or does it have to be over 350 square? It's a BAP in my book, which stands for big ass project. Sorry for the swear. And so on 40 count, it is 16 by 17 finish size. So it's a big one, but it's gorgeous and I love it. And it's going to get some attention from me periodically until it's done. Okay, I lied. I had more here that I wanted to show you before so this is what I've been stitching on most recently. Actually, I'm going to pause. Okay, I'm back. Through the magic of the digital age. That was no time for you. The thing that I got up for was right in my bag, but I forgot I put it there. So thanks previous me for being smarter than current me, but also I grabbed the other things I needed to grab to show you. So we'll be able to roll. So, okay. Feast of Friendship. This is my working copy, so the coloring on the copy isn't quite right. It's a little too dark, but Feast of Friendship by Blackbird. Lots of people are stitching this. It's a very popular fall piece. A lot of people stitched it last fall. I started it on Thanksgiving Eve last year, and I only stitched on it Thanksgiving Eve and Thanksgiving Day, and at that time it was my plan that it would be my Thanksgiving stitch for Thanksgivings until I had it done. Well, a couple things happened. So I started to get the itch to pick it up again. And so I did. I got it out a couple days ago. It was this weekend sometime. I did a conversion with Roxy Floss Co. last year. I did it right before I went to the open house at the beginning of November so that I could pick up a couple colors that I was missing. And Hannah helped me pick out the color of the house, because in the pattern, there's 4 colors of blue in this house, but it's like chunky and color blocky, and I just wanted one color of blue that had some really beautiful variegation in it to just stitch the whole house one color. So I did that, and this is how far I got. This is 40 count Eureka. Nope. Yes? No. Something else. I don't remember. It's a fox and rabbit with haystack. This is Caspian. This is the rest. What is the rusty red? Oh, I'm totally spacing it. It's what I'm still using. What are you? Caroline probably is like screaming at me. Pippi, with Pippi. And it's a little, again, my lighting today is pretty washed out, so you're getting a lighter read on this than what it actually is. It's a pretty yellow gold with a slightly dirty brown coloring. The linen is beautiful, but my colors, I got it back out on Sunday, and I was like, I don't like it. Like, I don't love it. Like, it felt, again, like you're not getting the full effect of it. it's too much of the same. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's too primary color. Like it's too bright all at once, or like it's not dirty. I don't know. It's not, the colors aren't right. The colors aren't right. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just not quite right. And I think it was a couple things. I tried to kit this from what I had for the most part, barring a few flosses that I knew I just needed to get. Because I think it was mostly motivated by like, I only had the colors that I had here, and I didn't want to spend a ton of time at the workshop, like fully like starting from scratch kitting. And then like Roxy just has a way bigger paint box than what they had even a year ago. The availability of the flosses is just amazing. So like this brown should really be like a lighter, like more goldy brown. Like it just felt too primary color, essentially. Like I went, stairs should be dark brown, so I'm gonna put dark brown on here. So anyways, the haystack was too yellow. It didn't really fit what was even called for. So I saved that and wanted to show it to you as an example of just where you can come with time and experience and kind of understanding a little bit more about color. So I started with my current conversion. I switched up a ton just for reference. I did it on my old conversion card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 of the half. 12 of the 21 colors, so over half of them I switched out for new color. And I picked, this one is Eureka by Fox and Rabbit, I think. No, I don't know. Why don't I know? It's in here. Okay, here we go. It was Hog Bristle by Fox and Rabbit. Switched to Eureka, still 40 count. Restarted it on Sunday. I'm in love with it. So therefore, I don't want to make it my only Thanksgiving stitch, at least not for now, because I'm really enjoying it. Just trying to figure out to see if I can show it to you here. So this is how far I've gotten. I stitched on it for a couple days, and I went back to stitching in hand for this. So, you know, this is how I started stitching. I went to frames and scroll frames and hoops, and I still use them, but I don't know, for whatever reason I felt like stitching this one in hand, so that's what I've been doing so far. I can always throw it on a frame or a hoop if I want. So yeah, I feel like these colors play a lot better together, and they're a lot closer. Like the linen is a lot closer to the called for, or the what it looks like in the picture, not the photocopy of the chart. And then this is my Floss palette, which is a little bit more like gold warm toned than what I had before. And like they're just all hodgepodge because this is how I store my floss. And so anyways, they're all starting to come up. Like I just haven't gone into them yet. And I used to cut my floss super long, and now I like it short. Like I like it the length of the Roxy floss skeins that they come in. So let me know if you want the conversion. I'll snap a picture and send it to you of my handwritten conversion for now. I'm not 100% sure it's going to stick. It's kind of one of those, I think I'm going to have to play with it a little bit. Like the pineapple, I have kernel mustard and haystack picked out. I don't know which one I'm going to want to use for it as an example. And then some colors for like what I could tell for the called for are very close to each other. So I decided there were some that I made like the same color, even though they're supposed to be different colors. The way they work out in the chart, it will be okay. So that is my conversion for Feast of Friendship. So that's been getting some attention recently as a new start, but a restart. So I'm not really counting it as a new start. And so I hope I'll work on this through November for sure on Thanksgiving, and we'll see how far I get. But it will probably go away, and I can't imagine I'd finish it this month. We'll see. Let's do this one next. So my next one is one that I started this summer sometime. I think it was a Christmas in July kit, so I must have started it in July or August. From Katie Strachan. It's her silk conversion of Santa Stops Here by Plum Street. So this is her stitched version. The Brenda Gervais version, or her pattern, has like trees across here. Some extra, there's a candy cane instead of trees here. There's just some changes. Katie added the bead. No, the beads are there. I don't remember at all. But anyways, so this is Santa Stops Here. So I'm stitching it with the kitted colors and the linen that came with the kit. So this is my box of Auvert Soie, and it is a mix of Goblins and 103. And then there are some Surfines because there's Accentuate. And so the kit came with the Accentuate red. And then I purchased separately I purchased the Accentuate of the like white iridescent to go with the snow. So I had to buy the Surfine and the Accentuate to go with those. Yeah, it's been a really good stitch. This, what is this linen? It's not an over-dyed linen. It's the linen that Katie uses all the time. Give me a hot second. I'm sorry. I can never. Is it just Legacy Fibers? Is that what it is? I don't know. It's not going to be on here because it's like in the kit thing. Oh, here we go. Maybe. So it is on 38 count Himalayan Fog Legacy linen. Yes, Legacy linen. This linen I've stitched on before. I told you I hated it and I would never stitch on it again. I've changed my mind about it a little bit. It's still not the same. It's quite a bit stiffer. Like the holes don't give way like they do with at least the Roxy that I'm used to, a lot of the hand dyes that I'm used to. And I don't know if that's the sizing in the linen because it's not over dyed or if it's just the way that this linen is woven. So when I stitch in a hoop, I have a hard time using the sewing method, which is how I like to stitch. So I had it in a Q-snap for a majority of the stitch, and then I moved it to stitching in hand because I do feel like I can sew a little bit easier. And unless I have a frame, I don't typically, for very long, like to one-handed front and back stitch because I feel like it's slow. But that's not the main reason. It's mostly because I am atrocious for getting knots in the back if I do that and not realizing it until I'm like 5 or 10 stitches down. So anyways, you want to actually see my stitching instead of listening to me ramble on. Again, I like to skip around and do some fill. So there is a method to my madness, I promise. So I worked across, did this, I like to start bottom left because I use the sewing method. So worked across the snowman, outlined Santa, outlined the tree. What my goal was to get over to the house because the pattern, there's like a candy house sign on the pattern, and Katie moved the wreath down a little bit. So I wanted to get the wreath in the right spot. So I kind of like stitched over to get to the wreath and then stitched the wreath and then started doing the fill-in. I realized the last time I worked on this piece that my house is like 1 stitch too close to the tree. So then I wanted to like work up the side of the house to make sure I remembered like what modifications I needed to do in here. And so my plan is to stitch 1 less stitch on this side of the house so that the wreath is still centered. And then I'll have to stitch 1 extra snow stitch to get so that because I need to keep the width the same or it's gonna be funny over here where I don't have the snow isn't at the same spot, and to keep the border right, if that makes sense. Anyways, I just lost, oh no, the needle's here. It makes sense in my head what I need to do. I think I know what I need to do in my head. So when I pulled this out for the 24th and when did I pull this out? I don't remember. I think I pulled it out for the 24th and the 25th of October because I finished Hibernation Day in September. That's right. I didn't finish Hibernation Day, I think, on the 25th, so I stitched a couple extra days until because it was so close. I added a couple extra days in September to get it done. So I had it started, but I was like, that was my new like Christmas focus piece, I guess, for the 24th and 25th of the month. So anyways, I want to keep going on this now that it's almost Christmas. It'll get more attention than just the 24th and the 25th. And I at least want to get it to the point where I know what mistakes I made and like that's all worked out. So really to get the outline of the house done and the snow all the way across and the borders all the way across so that I know everything looks right before I move on to, we're still working on more fill-in. Okay. The last whip I'm going to show you is my 2023 Modern Folk Embroidery Reaching Skyward. Do I take it out of the frame? No, I don't. I mean, yes. Okay, I'll take it out. Sorry, I was just trying to decide if I wanted to show you the whole thing in all of its glory or just the piece that I've been working on, which is where all the progress has been. So I took this with me to Jacobpalooza, of course, and we all took a picture with those of us who were still there on Sunday and had the piece with us who are stitching it, took a picture with Jacobs, and that was really fun. You can see that on my Instagram. I think others who were there at weekend one and participated also posted that picture. I was doing so good with this piece through the first half of the year. I was doing 10% a month. It took me about the first 2 weeks of the month to do that before I could move on to other stitching. And then I pooped out right around what I have lovingly called the circle of death, because it's just really killed the stitching. And it's not because it's hard, or it's time consuming. It's felt like because I'm a progress stitcher, not a process stitcher. It's slow, it's felt really slow, like mapping out this like fill. I should just show you. Why am I chatting and just not showing you? So this is the circle of death. This is the medallion I chose. But once I figured out my strategy and really got going, it was okay. And so what I did is as you can kind of see here in this corner, I outlined the negative space and then I'm kind of working on filling in the rest of the circle. And then it's less counting. I really only have to figure out like the negative space of the snowflakes and not the negative space of like all of the stuff in the middle as well. So I have almost all of the circle done, and the fill-in of the brown, I just have a little bit left of that, is Amaretto and Great Lakes. Nope. Amaretto and Seize the Day are my colors. And that's primarily what I've been focusing on. And there's still a ton left in this circle, like all the way around the circle, but it's good and it's fun. It just slowed me down. I think I burnt myself. The real problem is I hit it so hard I burnt myself out on it the first half of the year, and then I got distracted. Yeah. So there's multiple versions. There's like A and B for most pieces, and then there's multiple there's 4 options for the inside of the circle. So where I can, I've been doing both versions. So like here and here are 2 different versions. In here I couldn't modify because the way the motifs were, the way this was set up was different sized. I liked the reindeers instead of the geese, so I kept both reindeer, but then like these 2 are different. And then my side borders are different. And then my top border is one and the bottom will be the other. So I just thought I'd play with that a little bit where I can. I think October's piece was like this whole next section down here. So I'm like way behind. I did put 2023 in there. I will put 2023 in there because the bulk, I'm over 50% now. The bulk of the stitching will occur in 2023. So I hope I'll keep working on this through the rest of the year and then probably finish it up in 2024, and that's okay. It's a really big piece. It's a lot of stitching. Oh, I didn't have a tie because I took it off the frame. 2024 is out. It's gorgeous. I don't know what I'm going to do because I told myself I wasn't going to do the 2024 sampler stitch along because it's just so much. Jacob made it a lot more he made it slightly more manageable this year. It's like 3,000 stitches a month instead of 3,500 or 3,800 or something a month. But so I think it's gorgeous. I'm not in love with the top half of that sampler. The clock and like the turrets and stuff, like I could kind of take them or leave them. What I really, really love is the bottom of that sampler with the squirrels and then the stag in the middle and then the parrots or the tropical looking birds and like the way that it's in this like triangle shape. I'll put a link down below for the pattern. Anyways, and so I don't know. I think I'm gonna get it. I have to pick the colors, and then I don't know if I'm going to try and rechart it myself to like do something with the top to like finish it with just the bottom, or I might phone a friend and see if Jacob might pull something together for me where it helps me like finish that top off and it makes it like a smaller bite that I can work on in 2024. So that I'm still feel like I'm participating. I'm enjoying the stitch or the things that I really, really, really love about it, but I don't have to like do the whole piece with the clock part. I don't know what it is. Like, it's cool. It's just not something about it. I don't know. I should feel like I should love it. And I don't know why I don't love it. I just really love the bottom. So I have one more stitch to show you. I forgot about, oh my god. This is like the longest video ever, which I knew it would be because, you know, okay, I have to stop. Sidebar. My friend Whitney, my new friend Whitney, who I met at Jacobpalooza, made me this bag. She made one for all of her table mates. Jacob got one. He showed it on one of his videos. Like how good. I can put a shoulder strap on it if I want. It's got like this, it's got a zipper here plus a pocket here. The main compartment has a zipper. And then it's got like a pocket back here and then like the main pocket. I have like 2 projects in here, not huge ones, but this is like my new, and then these handles are like the perfect, they're just something about how they feel in my hand. And it's just, it makes my heart so warm. So this is my new stitchy bag. Like I have this like fancy 1803 Ohio Farm basket bag. Basket, it's not a bag, it's a basket that I like carry like my retreat stuff in, and I used to take that with me to stitchy days, but like this is my new stitchy day. I've carried it around a few times with me even this week to carry my stitching with me that I, you know, take with me as my blanket that I never actually use when I go places, but you know, it feels better to have it with me just in case. Anyways, thank you, Whitney. I love this bag. Okay, last thing to show you for whips. I lied. I keep telling you the last thing. This is the Witchy Stitcher Anatomical Heart number 13. My husband says it's gross. I absolutely love it. This came in the Hearts for Pam box from Cottage Garden. Wait, is that what they're called? Cottage Garden Threads. Oh my gosh. I get Cottage Garden samplings and Cottage Garden Threads like confused in my head all the time. Anyways, this is going in my office because I work in cardiothoracic nursing, so this is like right up my alley, and this is how far I am. I am stitching it on a 28 count one of a kind Roxy Floss Co. The threads are from the Hearts for Pam box minus 2 DMCs that I substituted chalkboard and Merlot for. So that's how far I am. There's a mistake up here somewhere. I'm fudging it. I got some fill in here to do, and then like I gotta bring the rest of the pulmonary artery and veins over here. Got to finish those guys, and then I'll come down and do like the atria come through here, and then I gotta get those bad boys, the ventricles, the workhorses in. So I love this blue, this variegated blue for the coronary arteries. Anyways, I'm loving this stitch, and I wanted to have it done by Halloween, but of course it took way longer. This is one of those like counting is hard pieces where I've had a few sections I've had to restitch a few times, and then you realize that your mistake is like way back somewhere else, and it's fine and I'll make it work. So it's one of those where like it's easy to kind of like, I'm gonna do all the black and like get it all outlined, and then you're like, no, you shouldn't do that because you need to check your work before you have the whole thing done and realize it's wrong. So I've worked on that intermittently, but it's not the type of stitching I normally do, and so it's a little bit easy for me to get frustrated, and I just have to take it in pieces. It's also over two threads over two because it's 28 count, and so that's not my favorite stitching to do. And I feel like it's so strange. Like you wouldn't think that going from 40 count to 28 count would really make that much of a difference, but like my thread runs out so fast. It's just bizarre that I notice it that much. So yeah, those are all of my whips. If you're still here, I do want to do a little bit of like plans. I keep looking over to the pile of the plans, so stick with me if you can. Just have a few more things. Okay, so I don't know where my birthday is tomorrow. And Darcy and Jacob, happy birthday. It's your birthday today. We're almost birthday buddies, but not quite. And so like you're supposed to have a birthday start, right? Like that's a thing. What I want to stitch on is probably Friendship Sampler. So I don't know if I'm going to have a new start or not. I really don't know, but I have a couple ideas. So I have had the Tree Lot by Hands On Design and the Christmas Tree from Hands On Design from Jingle Ball last year. Since Jingle Ball, I have the thread packs for both from Hands On Design. They're Classic Color Works. Oh, these ones are Color and Cotton. I haven't stitched with Color and Cotton before. Look at that. These ones are Classic Color Works. So Helen D just did a tutorial on these trees, which was really fun. So I might pick these up and stitch these this year. I feel like I need to do some. I haven't done anything from the Jingle Ball last year, and I bought quite a bit of ornaments last year, so I feel like I need to do that. And then I also got out this Satsuma kit. I'm going to stitch this. My daughter loves cats, so I thought that would be fun to stitch. Something small, I don't know. I just have so much here that I want to stitch on that I don't necessarily know that I want a new start. But you know, I have one or three, so there's possibilities. We'll see how I feel. Tomorrow we have plans that are unrelated to my birthday, so I don't even know how much I'm going to get a chance to stitch. It's very sad, but I will stitch on Saturday for sure. We'll see. And I think when I get home from those plans, even if it's a little late, I hope I'll get at least an hour worth of stitching in. So at Jacobpalooza, in true retreat fashion, there were a few giveaways. And it wasn't like Stitch North. There was like one set of giveaways on Saturday night. And we were sitting around Saturday evening chatting. Jacob was at our table hanging out, putting his coffee on Ness's stitching. Jacob. And he was about to walk away from the table, and like on a whim I was like, hey, will you blow on my ticket? And he was like, what? I'm like, just like blow on my ticket for good luck. And he was like, Geraldine, like you're an idiot. Of course he like it's an American thing, right? That like blowing on dice gives them luck. Like he didn't. So I had to explain it. It was awkward and weird and I was embarrassed, but he blew on my ticket for good luck. And then, you know, a couple hours later, Caroline did the drawing and I won one of the prizes. And I was so excited because it worked. And then Jacob signed my ticket and I took a picture with him, and then I forgot to hold up the ticket. So I have a picture of him on of us on my Instagram, but like I'm holding the ticket. It's a thing. But anyways, I have the ticket. I keep it in my stitching box, like up on the lid as a memento. And he gave me 100 years of good luck. So what I won from Caroline and the team, which was very generous, was a kitted project, chart, linen, fabric. Problem, it was a beautiful gift. The problem is, as you can tell, I shop there a lot. So I have a lot. I have a ton in my stash. I had you know, it's almost the end of the weekend. I had purchased all of the Jacob things that I thought I wanted. So I went home, or went back to my room that night. The hockey boys woke us up at midnight. So I sat on my phone for an hour, trying to decide what I was going to get. I really wanted to probably get a Jacob chart. So I went back down and I chatted with Caroline that morning, and she kind of got me going on something, and I chose Song of a Nightingale with a little less traditional choice in floss color. So I chose blue. Now it's gonna seem a little shocked. Okay, I've had one more look. So dark blue, light blue, pop of color, gold in this ochre, right? Gold in this situation. You know, Caroline said to me, if I could do it again, I would do dark blue, light blue, bright green. And she's like, it's one strand of thread. It's just a little bit of stitching. It's just enough of a pop. It's not gonna like, trust me with like the brightness of these greens, because it won't, when you have it on the linen and in that pattern, it's not going to be as bright as what it is in the skein. So I went with that, but instead of the traditional like Delfty blues, I went with tealy blues, because you know, if it's not purple, it's teal. So I chose blue and, ooh, sorry. Nope, yep, stay. Blue in the face, Gwyneth, and then Grouchy on Dirty Porcelain, 40 count. How good is this? So good. The linen's a little bit lighter in the camera than what it should be. The colors are pretty on point, maybe just a little bright. Like you're actually getting more variegation than what I can see with my eyeballs, but so good. Now that I'm looking at these colors and talking about them, I might start this tomorrow. In my head, my lap stand was going to come, and I was going to start this on my lap stand. But maybe I'll start it tomorrow. I don't know. I have so many modern woven embroidery pieces that I want to stitch. Already started. I don't know. But I love it, and I'm excited for it, and I think it will be beautiful when it's done. So that is also one of my plans. Now, because it's the holiday season, I got some other stuff in my stash for a long time, as in most of the time that I've been stitching, but like that hasn't really been that long. I have had Winter Rose Manor, which I'm sure most of you know what it looks like, but I will pull it out. I have Winter Rose Manor in my stash, just the chart. As I started working on conversions for myself with Roxy Floss Co., I've been chewing on whether or not I would do a conversion for this. So Sunday, instead of stitching, I did. Well, part of the reason was because Brenda came out with The Light of Winter, which is a neighborhood house in the same neighborhood as Winter Rose Manor. And so I really liked this piece as well. So I think I'm going to start one of these this holidays at some point. And the only thing I think I'm going to change is I think I want to find something else instead of these angels. Like, I don't love angels on stuff. I think they look kind of weird and creepy. The way that they're like, I don't know. Maybe they have charm that I just don't appreciate. It's not a for sure thing that I'll take them out. But so I did conversions for both of these. And again, like I feel like I don't feel super confident in my conversion. So it's probably going to be like a go with it. The Light of Winter is more of like a rosy brown. So I chose, ooh, that's getting really washed out. It's rosier. 36 count Tephra by Cedar River Linen. And then for Winter Rose Manor, I picked Biscuit. So let me see. Did I label these? Because that would have been really smart of me. I labeled one of them. That's fair. So this is Winter Rose Manor Linen. And then this is Winter Rose Manor Colors. Whoop. And I think I picked, did I pick this one? I think I did. I think I picked Cheesecake from last year's, and it's a color in the repertoire now. Cheesecake for the house. It's like a variegated beigey pink, and it's not like too like in your face pink, because I don't think I want an in your face pink. So that's Winter Rose Manor. And then for Light of Winter, similar reds, a little bit brighter greens. This ochre, or not ochre, this came out last winter with Birds of the Word. Birds of the Word, I think, will maybe not. This is mostly the angels, so I don't know that Birds of the Word will actually stick if I choose to take out the angels. But these are the colors for Light of Winter. Again, I picked different greens. Like these are the vegetable greens: asparagus, artichoke, and arugula. These are the grass greens: turf, lawn, and order. And then beleaf it. Yep. So we'll see when I get some more stuff down if I want to keep the same greens. Like this, if you look at the charts, it's hard to tell, of course, like in a chart, but they are slightly different. I don't know. Maybe they should be the more dustier. Brenda tends to use like the more dustier greens, but I feel like the colors that I picked for the Light of Winter kind of pop a little more with the brighter greens. So I think on the linen, it's just a different look between the brighter and the dustier. So those are in a bag, potentially ready to be started should I choose to go that route for the holiday season. I also have my eyes on the Country Sampler plums. Oh no, I just zipped my floss into the zipper. Country Sampler came out with a new exclusive Plum Street with a kit that is gorgeous. Check it out. I saw it and like, oh, so I went and learned how to long arm. I had to drive like an hour and a half from my house. There's a place that rents long arms, and it's not, oh my gosh, this floss is caught in the zipper still. It's not like a long arm that is automatic. It's all, oh man, it's all free motion. And where was I going with that? Oh, so I was on Instagram. I was walking as I was leaving from the class, and it was like the first thing that came up on my Instagram feed, and I like was alone, luckily, on the street, and I was like, I like gasped. It's so gorgeous. It's winter moon, so it's like a part of the spring, like spring moon, summer moon with like the moon, the big house and the moon. Right, of course, because it's winter moon. It's so gorgeous. So like I'm gonna get that, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna start it right away. It's what is it with like holiday stitches and giant houses? It's like will be my third one. Plus Santa Stops Here has a giant house on it. So we'll see. I have all of these kitted. Who knows when I'll actually start them. Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, that's coming, and then I'm also hoping to snag one of the Katie Strachan kits for Christmas. She did Cardinal Kin conversion on a dark linen instead of the tan by Plum Street, and it's also gorgeous. So that's a small, so I'm probably gonna work on that. And then of course over my shoulder over here, you can't see it, I have the Evertote Countdown to start on December 1, and I have Nicole C. Mendez is a dyer that lives in Germany. She dyes self-striping sock yarn, and she came out with a Advent kit that's 4 skeins of self-striping, one for every Sunday of Advent. And so I will be doing those. So last year I did daily, oh my gosh, what is it called? Flosstubes for the holidays. Wow. Flossmas. I think I'll probably do weekly so that I can like catch you up on where my progress is with the Evertote Modern Folk Embroidery Roxy Floss Co. collaboration mystery box. And then also show you my yarn. I do have there's a big slam downstairs. Freckled and Whimsy has a self-striping set Advent as well, so it's just one skein with a 20-gram mini, but it's 24 stripes, so you like knit a stripe a day. So I'll probably do those too, and I can show you that progress through the month as well. So I think that's kind of what I'll do. Hopefully I'll be back before then, but we'll see. Part of filming this way on my phone and just immediately uploading and not adding a bunch of extra pictures and stuff is the goal of making it easier for me to do this. And hopefully I don't have to talk for over an hour and a half to tell you everything I have to tell you, which is what I've done tonight. And now my husband's home and it's almost 7 and I haven't started dinner. So why he's home so late, he's probably had a bad day at work and now I'm a bad wife. But for you guys, we can make some sacrifices every once in a while. Not that I have to cook dinner, but we are usually a pretty good team, and for one of us not to have dinner going by now is not necessarily great, but we'll be fine. Okay, last thing. I've been participating in, I don't know if I've shown this before, but since July-ish, whenever we started, June or July, the end of June or July, I've been doing the First Stitches Mary 1840 St. Louis with Susan Stanley. And we've been learning to hand piece like a young girl in 1840 would have learned to stitch. And so we started with pieces of fabric that we had to trace and cut out because we didn't have rotary cutters in 1840. And then we pieced our 4 patches, and then we pieced our 4 patches into rows, and then we turned our rows into a quilt. And I'm behind now because she's kind of sped up her tutorials, and I think the quilting one is coming soon, so I have to press. The last one was pressing and basting, and I haven't done that yet, but I did get my quilt together. So this is my doll quilt, and I probably won't use it as a doll quilt. I don't have dolls anymore, but I think it would be a really fun like stitchy mat or like a little table piece to put somewhere and just go with. I love the fabric. The fabric is really fun. She tried to find as authentic fabric so that like Mary would have picked scraps from her mother's dressmaking scraps. So they're either 1840 or earlier pieces that she would have salvaged from the scrap bin. It's really interesting, like you sew through the seams, and unlike machine piecing, like all of your seams are free floating. So I'll have to press them and then get it all basted so that I'm ready to quilt because it's coming very soon. But that shouldn't take too long to baste. Hand basting. I know I need to do it. I want to do it the way Mary did it. But why would I sew something that isn't permanent when I can just pin it? That is the conundrum. It's fine. We're going to do it the way Mary did it. I'm going to be glad I don't have a bunch of needles poking me as I'm hand quilting. And it's going to be secure and not be bunched up on the back because I'm going to do it the right way. And it's slow stitching, and that's what it's all about, is the process, not the progress, right? So for that piece, that's what that's about. But I've been really enjoying that, and it's been a really fun learning opportunity. It's been a good break from stitching. It made me want to do a giant king size hand stitch reproduction quilt of the Jane Austen coverlet. So that's mostly cut out and not started, and I'm crazy for thinking that I can achieve. I mean, it's conceivable that I can get it done. It's not going to be done anytime soon, especially since I haven't started it. But if I, hand stitch a block or 2 a day forever, eventually it would be done. I mean, Jane did it before she passed, so she also had help from her mom and her sister. But anyways, so I've really enjoyed learning how to hand piece. One of the pieces that I decided to finish, it was my Evlia Kefalonia Carnations piece. I wasn't done with it, but I was done with it. So I took what I had stitched and it became a housewife. So the outside of my housewife. So I designed one. I'm working on hand piecing it all together. It's almost ready. I think it just needs a few pieces of wool and a pin. I'm going to put in a pin cushion. I have to decide. Anyways, it's just needs a few pieces of wool, and then I've been waiting to learn how to bind it with Mary 1840. So once Susan teaches us how to bind, then I'll be ready to finish my housewife. So that's what I've been waiting for, is Susan's tutorial on that. So I can show you that when it's finished. Okay, no, I really have to go and figure out what the heck is going on and do dinner and hopefully get some stitching in tonight after I sort through my piles to figure out what I'm even going to stitch. So, yeah, thank you if you're still here after all this time, thank you for joining me. I hope you were able to get some stitching or knitting or cleaning or whatever you were doing, dishes, done while we sat and chatted. Leave me some comments below if you have any thoughts about what you've seen. Which piece do you think I should start? Do you think I should have any ideas for my birthday start? I mean, you might not. Well, I'm not going to be able to start my birthday start till tomorrow evening, like late. So, if at all. So, if you have an idea for a birthday start, you probably would have time to tell me. So, okay, I'm going. Enough of the Midwest long goodbye that I am so prone to. I hope you're well. Stay safe, and I will see you sooner than the last time I saw you. Bye.